Hi Capricorn, welcome to your end of April 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. Shuffling the cards. Let's see what. That's a card I always think is your card. Well, that's nice. You've got some good cards here. Definitely. The heart of the matter is the Emperor. Now, even though I connect it with your sign, it's actually connected to Aries. I think it should be Capricorn because there's more of that kind of an authority figure, and that's what I associate with Capricorn more than Aries. But definitely somebody who is, getting their life in order. I think this is the divine masculine, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quite 100% on that because the Empress, I think, is the divine feminine, so they go together. But this is definitely somebody who is an authority or wants to incorporate that into their life, and you are definitely that type of person. Everybody does in their own way, but this is that classic, Saturnian, as far as I'm concerned. Now, the other thing is that if this is somebody else, this person may be a military man, somebody who's a police officer, and there may be concerns about that. Maybe you're concerned about their safety if they're kind of like being deployed somewhere, or you are, or with a local situation where you feel like their life is threatened by civil unrest, or that's an extreme example, but you know what I mean, just this, because of their occupation. It's kind of one where there's danger associated with it, but it's also authority figures. So that idea of somebody who makes the rules, this is not something that you particularly rebel against, but if you're in a relationship with somebody who does this for a living, or they just have that personality trait, it can be very, I would say even like a power clash, because you are a cardinal sign, Capricorn, and you are the kind of person who doesn't want somebody else telling you what to do. You will, obey the rules if you have to, but you want to call the shots in your life. And so if this is like your partner and they are very authoritarian, that could grate on you. And this is also the sign of the father. So if your father is involved in your, I said sign. I'm an astrologer, so I look at it that way. But this is the archetype of the authority, including the father. And so your father may be playing a role in your life of greater importance at this time for whatever reason. The past influence is the Two of Swords. So this is a card of being at loggerheads maybe with this person, power struggles, or deciding what to do about this person. For instance, if this is a father, you may have tried to get along with this person and they keep throwing their weight around. Even if you're an adult, they keep trying to use these power tactics. Maybe they're narcissistic and they don't want to relinquish power, and they want to disempower you. They want you to be like a child, and you're not a child anymore. So that could be kind of like what is going on that is creating a lot of conflict in your life for one reason or the other with this individual. Oh yeah, I didn't say this, duh. I mean, this could be like a boss who's very autocratic, and it's like it's unpleasant to deal with this person because you feel like it's, my way or the highway, how they think. And yeah, so that might be very not something that you want. And the higher message, this is a bigger picture, the spiritual message. Page of Pentacles, you can always work someplace else. If that's the case, you can make that change. You can apply for another job. Pages can be messages, so you can always, you should never feel like you're not in control of your life. Even if you can't, you can't just get up and walk away right now. You can always do something to make it happen. And sometimes that's what people forget, is that they have options. This can also be about the student. So this can also be saying that if you're someone who has been dealing with this type of person for a long time, kind of like a pattern of just being controlled by these types of petty tyrants. That was a term that Dr. Wayne Dyer used to describe, these people that are in these positions, and they're, they take advantage of having that control over other people, and that's just the reality. You can't control what other people do. So the thing is, you can get other training. I said being a student, but it can be also a new training for some new kind of skill, some new certification, something you can do and not have to rely on other people for a job where they're going to treat you like you're not worth much, and that's the thing, and that's just how it is. There's nothing you can really do about it, especially if the person is the head honcho. You can't, there's nowhere to go above that person, so you have to deal with reality. But you might be at a crossroads. You might be feeling like, well, maybe it can work out after all. Maybe if I just prove myself. And you have to realize when that is not going to be enough. And as somebody who has experienced that, it's really, I think if I had to do it over again, I would have been a lot less concerned about how they feel. But I felt at the time that I did have to prove myself. And it didn't help me to gain more respect. And that's because sometimes people have already made up their minds what they're going to do. So that's what I'm thinking about with the Two of Swords. If you feel this sense of, what is the direction I go in, one of the things is to consider how do you feel at the end of the day, and that can give you a lot of information. What crosses you is the Sun card, and if this is a relationship, the Sun card, well, let me just say, the Sun card is one of those cards that is about everything, you could think of that's positive. Love, success, joy, prosperity, healing. And even when it's in the challenge position, it's because it's so positive, it's only like delayed or partial in what it is. But when I look at this card, is not as a reversed card, but as the challenge to the situation. And so what I would say is twofold. If you love someone who is autocratic, then it prevents you from leaving that person. And you have to get over that. Even if you really care for this person, you have to still honor yourself. Or the exact opposite, that you really are in a situation where you don't love the person, and that simply creates more problems for you because you feel like maybe you feel guilty about that, and you want to prove to yourself that you're not a bad person because you know, you should love this individual. If you have children together, that may be another thing that makes you feel that your feelings, if you don't have them for this person, are wrong. Another thing that I want to say, because I didn't mention this earlier, maybe you're young enough to still be under the same roof with the Emperor, if this is your father or stepfather. And the Page of Pentacles can be, you know, getting a new job is the beginning of your freedom, or applying for a school, maybe like going away to school is a way. These are things that people do when they're in that place where they know that this person is toxic to them, but they don't know exactly what they should do about it. Either getting a job or getting an additional job so that you can save money to move and to be on your own, or going to school, especially if it's, obviously I don't mean commuting, excuse me, commuting to school, I don't mean that. I mean where you're living away from home and you have that escape, because that can open the doors for you to gain a lot of autonomy. And that may be something that you haven't quite figured out yet, but that could be it. But with the Sun card, you may not feel like you're really that you know who you are, that you really know that this is not what what you want. And remember too, with the Emperor, if you're trying to gain control of your life, there may be some decision that you have been putting off that is keeping you from that. And the Sun being identity or success means that you're kind of putting off potential success as well. What is coming in is represented by the Two of Cups, and the two main things I could think of is if perhaps getting back together with somebody, and unless this is an actual Aries person and you're making up with them, I would say another relationship, a former relationship. It's an issue. The Emperor, maybe this is a good person and it's just a matter of committing to that person. But one thing I will say is, if you're like, let's say this person has said, hey, we should move in together, we should get married, and you're kind of like on the fence, and that's what the Two of Swords is. If they are embodying very controlling behavior, you definitely want to see that as a red flag. Don't say, oh wow, well, maybe I'll just commit anyway. But I'm making this Emperor to be a bad person, and I shouldn't do that, because in some cases this person may be a really great helpmate, in a sense, where they are they may have their little side to them where they're a little bit too controlling, but perhaps they also they make you feel safe, and that's a good thing. And maybe you feel like you can work around some of those other not so pleasant areas. Like if somebody's very rigid in their thinking, it doesn't mean they're a bad person, and it doesn't mean you can't have a relationship with them. Or if they see the world in black and white, because a lot of times if you're a soldier or if you're a cop, you do tend to think like that. It's not the best, because it's not true, but it works for the type of work that they're doing, because they have to see good guys and bad guys in order to do their job. There's not a lot of room for gray when you're on a battlefield or whatever. But if they take that mentality to personal relationships, it can get messy, because you can't apply that. There are too many nuances in life, you know. You can't just think this is right and this is wrong, and so that rigid mentality can make a relationship really suffer. But in some cases, it might be a mild version, and it's not that big of a deal. You know, it all depends. And the outcome, 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment. So, like I said before, you know, even with the Sun card, I think sometimes the challenge is to believe that you're deserving of love, of joy, of success. You know, all of these things that are connected to the Sun can make it very hard for people who kind of like, you know, like a Capricorn person. You tend to be a little bit leery of just accepting, like if something good comes your way, you may be like a little bit suspicious of it because you want to be pragmatic. That's so important to you that you even lean on the side of being a little bit pessimistic at times. And sometimes you just have to embrace good things in life and not be and not like question whether or not it's really going to work out all right. With the 9 of Cups, this can be something that you've wanted for a while. I feel, though, that this is on the emotional level and that it could have to do with a relationship, especially a romantic relationship. I'm even thinking about children. So for some of you that have been trying to conceive and you just, I think with the 2 of Cups, sometimes it's a matter of forgiveness, that you need to forgive somebody, and then it releases resistance to a particular situation. So let's say you had a father who was abusive, and you want to have children, but you're with somebody, and I'll just say, let's say you're a woman trying to conceive, and you're afraid of repeating what was done to you. You're afraid of that your partner might do that, and you just forgive. You know, with the 2 of Cups, you let bygones be bygones, and that resistance kind of melts away, and you're able to just conceive. Just like when people, they adopt a child and then the woman conceives, that's a letting go of resistance, because the fear of not being able to be a parent, a mother in that specific case, can, you know, create blockages. Anytime we have a fear that something isn't going to happen, that, you know, I mean, that feeling inside is horrible. It feels very constricted, and that, you know, that's like kind of the physical manifestation of resistance. Well, if in Law of Attraction, there's a part called Art of Allowing, and so it's like the ability to just allow things to come to you is so important, that you know, but you have to have the faith that it will happen, and you know, that's just how it works. So in any case, yes, very nice cards. I hope that you enjoyed this, Capricorn, and if you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.